Well, welcome everybody to today's podcast of Healthy Me Journey. This is episode number 5, and Happy New Year to everyone here. But today I have a really special guest with me. I cannot tell you, this girl is a woman. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say girl like that. So bubbly, so happy all the time. I've never seen her in a bad mood ever. Great at what she does. She's a registered dietitian. Her name is Kayleigh Caito, and today I'm so excited to have her on so she can tell you about her journey and what she actually does. So welcome.
Well, thank you
for coming today. I'm so excited.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It was just like, I gotta get Kayleigh on just because your approach and what you do and how you work with everybody. And I know you don't know that, so I'm gonna let you kind of explain what got you into deciding to become a dietitian and what do you do now?
Yes, so my journey actually starts all the way back in high school. I was an athlete. I was playing volleyball at the time, and I started to become a little bit more interested in the nutrition side of fueling for athletics and sports. And so I ended up wanting to get stronger, faster, and so I joined a gym at the time outside of my season. My sister was playing basketball, and I said, hey Mom, it's not fair that she still gets to train and be active, and I don't want to sit on the couch all weekend. So we joined a gym. My mom and I both did at the same time, so she went with me, which was a really cool bonding experience. But through that, the gym was doing one of those challenges that gyms often do. It was like a 6-week challenge. This particular challenge, they brought in a meal prep service it had a whole different style to it with different diets all mixed into one. So it was a paleo, it was something called the zone diet, and they were both intertwined. And as a high school athlete, I was like, hey Mom, they're promising that this is gonna help me get stronger and lose weight. And I thought for whatever reason that as a high schooler, I needed to lose weight so I could jump higher for volleyball. Little did I know I didn't need to do any of those things, but I did the diet, went the 6 weeks. I remember it being, you get to eat one of their meals a day, and then the other meal, I was eating chicken and broccoli, and I remember measuring out and having to count like 12 cherries or 6 almonds, and it was so restrictive. And this was my first experience as a 16-year-old doing a diet like this. And so by the end of the 6 weeks, they do the whole retest, get back on the scale, see what happened, do the body fat test. And what had happened to me was I ended up gaining weight and losing muscle. And so this was my first experience into it. And my volleyball coach came up to me and she goes, Kayleigh, you've been acting really tired during practices and games. Are you okay? What's going on? And so I was like, what do you mean? I mean, I was in band, so I was having 12-hour days. I would wake up, I would go to school, I would have band practice, volleyball practice, then go home. And so eating so few calories after getting my RD and going back, I went back and said, for fun, let me just calculate how many calories I would have been eating on this diet. And it was less than 1,200.
Oh, wow.
Less than 1,200 calories as an active high schooler.
Wow.
No wonder why that happened to me.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the pivotal moment where I said, wow, I want to learn more about why that happened, but also I want to help other people so they don't fall into that same trap.
Absolutely.
So they don't have that same thing happen to them. Because I didn't know what I didn't know. And so that's what started my journey to become a registered dietitian. Because at that time I was 16, I was like, what do I want to do when I grow up? And so I started looking at colleges that had dietetics as a degree option, and that's kind of how it all started.
So now that you have that experience, do you find yourself gravitating towards athletics then, or are you taking on clients that I just want to lose weight, or what type of clients do you typically take on right now?
Yeah, so right now my bread and butter is women who have struggled with calorie counting and dieting and just doing those restrictive diets where they're not eating enough throughout the day. At first I started working more so with athletes, but then as I kind of evolved myself, I wanted to expand out and help more people. And so I more so helped women who they're stuck in that dieting cycle, and they can't seem to get out of it. They might see short weight loss for a period of time, but then they fall off and they gain it all back and maybe then some, and they're just tired of this happening over and over and over. And some of them, sure, they already have an active lifestyle, but some people that I see too, they haven't even started that active lifestyle yet. And so I don't like write exercise plans or anything like that, but of course, you know, I have my approach where it's like, hey, what do you like to do, and let's find a way to get that into your lifestyle.
Absolutely. You find that the ones that, if you can find something that they like, they stick with it longer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So with that, I know I've actually seen a couple of your classes and little demos that you've done. One thing that I find that you do that's so unique is you talk about the plate. You want to share that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really like taking a more holistic approach to nutrition. So instead of, you know, and mind you, this is not how I started. I actually started by writing all of my clients' meal plans. I would calculate their calories, how much protein, all that they needed. And I would give them their plans at the beginning of the week, because that's what I thought a dietitian did. And that's what I thought that I had to do. But the more I did that, the more I realized, oh wow, this is still in that same dieting cycle, even though I'm doing it in what I felt was a healthier way, because it wasn't, you know, restricting their calories so much. What I found was it was still hard for them to stick with. And so I, through working with clients, I actually found a much better way, and it's the way that I live too, where let's look at your plate and let's see what you're actually putting on it first. And then from there we can build out the portions. How much should you have on your plate versus these are the numbers that you should be hitting each time. And so I do teach the plate method, and, you know, encourage people to start with their vegetable. Hey, what vegetable are you going to have at your meal? Because I find that vegetables are the most commonly missed food at meals and snacks. And so most people would build a meal around their protein, like, hey, what steak are we going to have, or what chicken are we going to have? But I like to take the approach of, what's your vegetable going to be first? And then from there, then we can decide the protein, and then we can decide the starch or the carbohydrate that we want to have with it.
Yeah.
Making sure that we've got portion sizes to where you feel satisfied, you don't feel hungry, your stomach's not growling at the end of the day, but you're also not overly stuffed or overly full either.
Yeah. You know, as a chef, I could see where that would be so much easier if you could work that way. Like, oh, you know, the color of the vegetable. So if you're working with carrots, like, oh, I know the perfect protein that will go with that compared to the other way around.
Yeah.
That's I love that approach, taking that.
Yeah.
And you find that it's working with clients?
Yes. It's a much better, they feel a lot more free to eat what they want, because instead of me giving them this meal plan or them finding a meal plan or finding these recipes, they have the freedom to choose what they want. So hey, you don't like carrots, for example. What's another vegetable that you do like? Oh, you don't like broccoli? Okay, how about Brussels sprouts? Or how about a salad? You know, what's something that you do enjoy eating that we can balance onto that plate? And so it's a lot more of a sustainable approach for people.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it made me think when you were talking about that. A lot of times when I'm working with clients or we're talking, and I'm sure you hear this too, is I'm so overwhelmed, or why didn't I know this? I don't understand why I was never told this information. When you hear that from clients, like, what's your approach there? Like, how do you help them through that? Because I'm sure you hear that. I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know where to start.
Yes.
I don't know what to do.
Yes, all the time. I mean, that's the main reason why people come to me, is because one week you're hearing eat all of the eggs, the next week you're hearing you can't eat another egg in the rest of your life. And so there's so much information and misinformation out there that it often becomes confusing and overwhelming. Right now I get the most questions about intermittent fasting and keto and those types of diets as well. And of course those I'm sure will phase out, and there's going to be the next new diet that everyone's talking about. And so the thing about this is that it's a lot more of a simple approach, and so this is something that isn't going to ever phase out. And so it's very easy and attainable for people, so that it feels less overwhelming. Because when they come to me and they say, I feel overwhelmed, I've tried all of these things, there's all of these rules to these diets, what do? I say, let's break down those rules and let's start from the bottom, from the foundation, and build up from there. And so that's why we start with something simple like the plate, and then something equally as simple as the portions. And guess what? You don't have to buy and get all of these measuring devices. You don't have to get a food scale. You can just use your hand. You can visualize everything that goes on your plate with your hand. How simple is that? We all have one. Well, most of us, right? And so it goes with us everywhere we go. And that's all we need. So simple, so easy, and a lot less overwhelming. And the people that I work with say, wow, I didn't realize that this could be so simple.
We should come up with a sign so that way everybody knows. Like, we have sign language, well then let's do food language.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. We should come up with something.
Yeah.
So now, with what you're doing, because you did take a little bit of you're still working with clients,
yes,
correct?
yes.
But then you're also working with other dietitians as well.
Yes. Now I'm also helping other dietitians start their businesses as well. Yes.
How is that?
That it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding and so much fun, because now not only am I able to help touch the lives of those around me with my approach and my nutrition and my personal nutrition clients, but I'm also able to touch more dietitians who are able to touch more people. And so it just takes it to the next scale, to the next level. And to hear them say, oh, my client had this win, it's just that much more rewarding to know that. Yeah, because they all are phenomenal and they do great work too.
What would you say when it comes in your career, what has been one of the simplest clients and one of your hardest clients that you had?
That's a great question. So simplest clients really are, and I think of a few people that come to mind, and they're the ones who are the most ready for change.
Okay.
They're the ones who come to me and they say, you know what, I'm tired of everything that I've done in the past, and I'm so ready, I will do whatever you tell me to do. And those are the clients that I just find if you're at that level of ready to go, you've done all of the other things, you're tired of it, you don't want to listen to that anymore, and you're ready to block all of that out, and you're ready to actually make a change. Those are my easiest clients. Now, on the other side of that, some of my most challenging clients are the ones who they come in and this is just another diet that they're trying, right? This is just another thing that they're like, maybe this will work. So let's try it, but what if there's still something else out there? I'm not sure. And so usually by the end of it, they're a little bit more like they've caught on to, oh, okay, this is it. This is the lifestyle that I was looking for. But at first, they're a little bit more resistant to change and a little bit more resistant to actually following the process. But by the end of it, oftentimes I find that they're much more fulfilled, just mentally, physically, emotionally with their food and their habits, and they get better results long term too.
Speaking of emotions, that was something that was actually brought up. I was in a meeting with another friend of mine, and we were talking about he's more into weight loss. And one of the things that he was telling me as I was asking him questions is that they're finding that there's so much emotion that is attached to weight, and that they really have to focus more on the emotion part of it first before all these other steps can actually happen. Do you see the same thing with working with clients that are looking for weight loss, that you have to kind of be the counselor and help out with that emotion before you can get to that next step? Yeah,
it's funny that you say that, because the mindset of nutrition is one of the foundational components of what I teach my clients as well. And so we actually don't start with anything until we start with mindset and start with the foundations of, hey, what's going on, what's leading you to these choices that you're making with your food. Like, for example, I get people who come to me and they say, hey, I struggle with an afternoon or evening binge, where I struggle with eating too much at night. I often go for the candy, or I often go for something that I know is not healthy for me. And so really it's getting down to the root of why that is occurring in the first place, because it doesn't make sense to say, oh, well, what we'll just do is make those things off limits and get them out of your house. Now, of course, that will help, right? Setting up our environment is an important aspect of it, but it doesn't get to the root, because it's not well, why is this happening? Because you can get rid of all the candy in the house, but that's not going to stop someone from going out and buying some. Or when they do get the opportunity to have it, they're going to overindulge. And so we want to get to the foundation of, okay, why is this behavior happening in the first place? And once we can figure that out, whether it's because you're bored or because you're eating in front of the TV, maybe we need to remove some of those behaviors first and some of that mindset that goes behind those things before we can really start to make that change and make that big difference.
Yeah, I got to tell this story just because I think you would relate to it. I had a client, this goes back probably 8 years ago, and she had gastroparesis, and she went to Cleveland, she went to Columbus, she went all over the place just trying to get some answers as to what was going on. And they kept telling her, it's all in your head, it's all in your head, you know, we can't help you, it's all in your head. And so we really started doing a deep dive. At the time when I first met her, she was only eating baby food, pudding, applesauce. Every once in a while, she might do something like a cooked carrot. And that would be about it. However, she also had on there, and it blew my mind, in the afternoon, she would have a snack, and it would be tuna, crackers, and carrots. And I'm thinking, raw carrots. Like, how in the world is this girl eating raw carrots? I don't understand this. Everything else is giving her issues. Even pudding was giving her issues. How is she eating a raw carrot? She can't digest that. So it ended up, there was a team that came together. So we would have a monthly meeting talking about, like, you know, her counselor that she had her spiritual counselor, all kinds of people. And we were talking. And then one day I came up and I asked her, like, how in the world are you eating raw carrots? What's connected to that? I don't understand. She goes, it was a snack that when I was 6 years old, my dad would give me. And my parents, soon after, by the time she was 7, they divorced. So she was mentally going back to the time that her dad was giving her those carrots and she could digest it. So then after that, it was an aha. That's what we need to focus on. And at the time when I met her, she was 5'6", so she was about my height, and she only weighed 89 pounds. Wow. Had one child, and she wanted to have another one. But they're like, until you gain weight, there's no hope. This is not going to happen. Since then, now she has 2 others, so she's got 3 kids now, just by looking at the emotional side when it comes to food.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It really is.
Yeah. I just had to share that story because I knew that you would understand that. Yeah. That was what an experience that was.
Yeah.
I still talk to her this day, just thinking like where she was to where she is now.
Yeah.
Wow. But anyways, going back. So with now that you are coaching other dietitians, and you also take on clients as well. Do they have to be in Northwest Ohio? Do you anywhere?
Great question. So I do everything virtually. So I can take clients from across the United States. And I absolutely love that opportunity to get to expand out and reach more people as well. I've worked with clients who are all the way out in California. I've gotten clients who have been, down in Florida, and I do have clients who are in Northwest Ohio and who are local, and those are great because then I can actually meet up with them too in person. But even I find that the virtual meetings for my clients, I find that it's just very convenient for them, and they don't have to travel far to come and see me, and so I love it. I absolutely love it.
What would you say through the years in your career was one of the some advice that someone gave you that you find so phenomenal that you use it today?
Ooh, advice that I've received. Well, I think when it comes to helping people, the best piece of advice is to follow your passion, right? Because that was one thing where when I was, back when I was young and I was, trying to find my way, you hear other people saying, oh, well, you should do this, or well, you should do that. And if it kind of gives you that feeling of, oh, but I don't want to, then maybe you shouldn't. Then maybe you shouldn't do those things. Maybe you should do what you actually want to do and what you're passionate about. Because what I've found, with that perspective is, by following what you're passionate about, you're able to help more people because you're able to dive into it that much more too. And so, I don't remember who it was that told me that because I was a little bit younger. But knowing that, it just kind of sticks to your core of do what you love, and even if that changes, that's okay too, right? It's okay to change. It's okay to evolve.
You were meant to be on.
It's okay. It's okay for those things. And so when you do that and you follow your passion, then I find that you're able to help so many more people.
Yes.
And you're able to do it on your terms.
Yes.
Right? Versus someone else's terms too. And that gives you a better feeling, but that also gives the people that you're working with a better result as well.
Do you see with, because we've had many conversations, my love, my end all be all is cancer patients and autoimmune.
Yeah.
Do you see that, do you work with specialized clients?
I do see clients that do come to me with chronic issues. I've worked with diabetic patients in the past, but and I've worked with people with heart conditions in the past too. But I don't specialize in something specific like that. For me, my specialty is more women from that 30 to 50 range who is just sick and tired of dieting. And so people come to me and their main goal is weight loss, but through working with me, they find that their tachycardia reduces. They find that their diabetes and their inflammation improves. And so whereas I don't specifically help with those things, just by changing what you eat and changing your diet, and for a lot of people, it comes down to, we just need to lose a couple pounds. And once you do that, then you start to see a big change.
I agree with you 100% there. With that, now I'm just going to ask you some just random questions.
Yes, bring them on.
Just because.
Bring them on.
What would you say is your favorite book?
Favorite book? Okay. So first book that comes to mind is Atomic Habits.
Oh yes.
I love that book.
Yes.
I love that book by James Clear. And I read it as I was going through and actually developing my nutrition program for my clients. And so there's components of that book that I've been able to teach to other people. And it's so funny because one of the core things that he teaches that I love and sticks out to me is habit stacking. Putting something new, a new habit that you're wanting to build, along with something that you're already doing on a daily basis. That way that you don't forget. That way that you make it simple, you make it easy. And so these are things that I implement in my daily life too. And then it's been something that I've been able to help other people, because I really truly find that once you build something as a habit, like think about it. When we get into the car to drive, we're not thinking about, oh my gosh, I have to buckle my seatbelt, but where does it go? Oh, okay, I click it in there, and then I have to put my foot on the brake first, I think, and then I put it, like we just do it without thinking about it. And so the more it becomes a habit, the less mental space we have to take up. And so if we can make our nutrition and our healthy activities habits to where we don't have to think about them, they're just natural, and we actually enjoy them too, it makes it so much easier to stick with for the long term. And so I've found that for myself and for my clients, that's one of my absolute favorite implementation books. Yeah.
I love that. Now you can see why I say she's always bubbly and always so awesome to be around. So what would you say, going back with that, what is a quote that sticks in your mind all the time?
Oh, okay. So a funny one is I've recently started doing Peloton classes.
Oh.
And I never thought that I'd like cycling much, but it's been so much fun just because I like the atmosphere. And I've done all different types of physical activity. I've done, fitness-led classes. I've been a coach of fitness in the past. I've coached different types of fitness classes. And so I've loved every part of it. And so I never thought that I would enjoy cycling as much as I do, but it's less about the cycling itself. Like I'd feel the same way if it was on a treadmill or if it was, on a rower. What I love is the coaching where it's you're being led and you're being motivated by someone. And maybe that's why I love to be a coach myself, because I love leading and motivating people
Sure.
too. But one of the things that they've been saying recently that just really like hits home to me is you didn't come this far just to get this far. And that it just makes so much sense, but I think about it not only from a workout perspective of, yeah, I didn't get 35 minutes into a 45-minute workout just to get 35 minutes in. I came here to do a 45-minute workout. But then you can expand that on all other areas of life of, we work hard for these things, but we don't work hard just to get to the middle. We work hard to see it all the way through and to see ourselves be successful and to see ourselves get those things that we want. And so that's one that just really sticks out to me
That's
right
a
now.
good one.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh. Now, I know one thing that I am trying to with the journey is explain to people and for them to understand that every single person's journey is unique. It's not the same. Your journey is not the same as mine. And it's okay. As far as your regimen and what you do, what does that look like?
I love my routines. I gotta say, I love my routines, and during the middle of the day, things look a little bit different based on what the work schedule looks like. But for me, I've got a solid morning routine where it's wake up, I put on my workout clothes, and by the way, I have them already sitting out so that there are no excuses. They're right there. That's the first thing that I put on in the morning. I put on my workout clothes. I go and I do my workout, whether it's riding the bicycle or whether it's doing some dumbbell free weights at home. After that, then usually my cat, Mr. Mojo, he's all around me while I'm doing my workout, and he's just meowing at me because he wants his food. So then I feed him his food and he's all happy. And then I go and I actually meditate for 10 minutes every morning.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I do a morning meditation. Depending on my mood, I'll either listen to something or do it completely silent. And then after that, then I get up and I get into my work day. And then I come out and eat my lunch when I need to and go back and do some more things. And then at night, I relax with my boyfriend, and that's our time where we get to spend together. And so I try to fit all of the things in as best as I can throughout the day, which I know, as you know, they fill up quick, there's not enough hours in the day.
Is not, no. Whoever came up with 24, they should.
I know.
They really need to rethink that one. Oh my.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That makes me happy to hear that you meditate. It's a lot. My thing that I do on a daily is pretty much like that, but I journal. I take that 10 minutes and I'm journaling, get my thoughts there, so that way I go into the day positive mindset, which is hard. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So with the dietetic side and you being, do you find that your clients are a little intimidated by you because of the fact you're a dietitian?
Good question. So yes and no. Yes and no. I find that my clients that come to me, oftentimes they're looking for someone with that type of certification or type of degree where I feel it brings a level of trust with them. But at the same time, I hear, oh, well, this means I'm gonna actually have to commit. And again, it's on that readiness to change of, okay, but where are you at, and what are you, how far are you really wanting to do this? Because, again, my goal is to keep it as simple as possible to help you be successful with it. And so it really just depends. It depends on the person, because I think it gives that level of, hey, you're gonna do this? Yeah, you're gonna do this, you're gonna go all in, but what is the cost of not doing it? What happens if you don't? Then what does your life look like 6 months or a year from now if you don't commit and you don't make those changes? And so I find that, sure, maybe it's intimidating at first, but once they start to get to know me and my personality and my style, they warm up and they're like, oh, this
absolutely.
is so much easier than what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. I just thought about this one too. The change that has happened, because a lot of times, I've been in healthcare, that realm, for a long time. And a lot of times when it came to dietitians, they were affiliated with something. They were affiliated with a nursing home. They were affiliated with hospitals. You didn't see them on their own compared to how it is now.
Yeah.
Has that really, have you seen a big change with that happening? Because you're independent.
Absolutely, and it's really fascinating because when I was looking to get into this field, I actually thought this is what all dietitians did.
Really?
Yes, I actually thought that this is what all dietitians did. And so the further I got into my degree and my internship, I actually realized, oh, dietitians work in hospitals. Oh, dietitians work in skilled nursing facilities and nursing homes and all of these different places. WIC. Wow, what I'm looking to do is totally different than that. And so since being out in the field, I know that there are still lots and lots of dietitians who are working in those types of settings. But since starting my own business and since helping others start their own businesses too, I've started to see a little bit more of a shift more recently. Now, of course, there are still plenty of dietitians who they don't want to. They don't want to start their own business. They like what they do in their setting, and that is all well and good. We need that.
Absolutely.
We need dietitians who are in those places. But it's also there. I've noticed a little bit of a shift in that mindset of, oh, but there are other options. I didn't realize that I could do these other things too. So, yeah.
What can I do to help you? Now, and I'm saying that as far as journey, like what are ways that we can help build that relationship as far as, hey, I know the perfect person that may be able to help you when it comes to what to eat, how to eat, things like that. What would you suggest to me or to our followers here on how we can help you to build your business and to help others?
Yeah, so it's really what to listen out for, right? It's really what to listen to people saying. I know, holiday season is we're in it, right? We're in holiday season right now, and we're finishing up holiday season, and along with that, we're seeing family that we haven't seen in maybe months, maybe even since last year. And it's really what to listen for, and it's hearing people say, oh, I can't eat that, or they're saying, well, I'm gonna eat whatever I want because diet starts after the holidays, right? January 1st, diet's gonna start, and I'm gonna go all in. We all know how that goes. We all know how that goes. It's all in for a day. And so, and even outside of just holiday season, it's really just hearing primarily, women. I do work with men too, but I hear it more so from women who are a little bit more open and talk about it a little bit more of I've tried this thing, or I'm trying to lose weight, or I just can't get rid of this problem area. These are the things that I tell people to listen for, because if you're hearing maybe someone you love say, diet starts Monday, or let me just have a bite, and then it turns into more than that. These are all triggers of, hey, are you looking for someone to maybe help you on that journey? I've seen you start all of these diets in the past, and I've seen how frustrated you get with all of these diets. Is there, when is enough? Are you ready to change and get some help with that? And so those are the main things to watch out for and to listen for.
What's a good contact for them to get in touch with you?
Yes. Yeah, so best place, honestly, is Facebook. Is my Facebook group. It's called Weight Loss Without Counting calories. I can get it to you, and you can put it down at the bottom, but I can get that to you. And so my Facebook group is really the best place to get into my world. I do go in there and do some trainings, and I throw content in there, and it's also a really great place for the community of other people to help each other and to get started, and to share recipes and have a good time. And so that's a really probably the best place. But for those people who are ready to take that next level, they can of course come to my website and schedule a call with me, a 15-minute phone call where we can just dive in a little bit more and figure out, hey, what's really going on? What are you looking for help with? And how can we make this real for you? So they can come to my website, getfueledhealthy.com. I also have a blog there, and so if they're wanting to learn a little bit more about just healthy eating, they can check that out too. So those are the two main places.
I have to say, just because of the fact I am on your Facebook, and you do a phenomenal job of, you have some very creative questions, like where you can dive in a little bit, and people don't realize that you're diving in. It's very creative, but I mean, it's like, oh, that's really smart. You do a phenomenal job when it comes to that. Just so you know, I admire you for that. Sometimes I can think it just doesn't come out. And you're the opposite, it comes out. So it's really good. I'm so excited for you just because of the fact of what you've done. I've known you for a while now, and like I've said multiple times, you just have the personality. You want to help, and you don't want to see people suffer or go through the same thing that they've gone through. And I can't imagine a better person to help guide people with your personality. I can't imagine someone being like frowning after talking to you. I can't imagine that happening.
Yeah, I've yet to have it happen. But.
See, I knew it. There's just no way.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that you would like to tell all of our viewers?
No, I mean the last thing is to, just if you are ever at a place in your life where you're thinking about something and you're not really sure of what's the best path to go, whether it be in your nutrition, your health, career, whatever part of your life, just look at the other side of the coin and say, well, what happens if I don't do it? What happens if I don't do it? I think that's a question that we fail to ask ourselves enough of, well, there's the cost of doing it, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to give up these things in order to lose the weight, but what happens if you don't do it? What happens if you don't make those changes? And so that's what I would love to leave the audience with is, just thinking on that side of things when you come to those big decisions that you have to make in life.
That is powerful. That is something truly. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for being here today. As always, please like and subscribe to Healthy Me Journey. We would love to have you on board, and keep following us for more people like Kayleigh that are here to help you. Thanks again.
Thank you.